As I speak, it's assumed it's a double murder-suicide. I'm now going to argue it could well be a triple murder. Let's go through the events as they happened. On Friday, the 22nd of June, Benoit went to visit his doctor. Why he went, we don't know. But what we do know is that there's a picture of him in the office just 2 hours before the murders took place. This is the last picture taken of him by a fan. According to the fan, he was very, very relaxed. He was very happy. He was very polite. He was very kind. Is this the kind of man who's about to commit a double murder and kill himself? Now I'm going to argue and think about this. While he's in the doctor's office, while he's on his way home, intruders break into his home. They tie up his wife and put the child in the bedroom, possibly locked. These intruders, possibly premeditated extortionists, may have been surveying the property, waiting for a moment when Benoit would be out of the house. They may even be known to Benoit. People said he was been worried the last couple of weeks. Some people said he wasn't, but some people have said he looked worried. Was he worried about somebody who was threatening him? Benoit was a very, very, very private man. He may not have told anybody about this, but he may have been worried about extortionists threatening him. It may have even been people with a wrestling background and experience, maybe even somebody he knew. When Benoit returns home on that Friday the 22nd of June, maybe he was sedated upon entry, possibly with chloroform. After all, he's a big wrestler. But if there's 2, 3 or 4 big guys in there, and he comes in, and they've already tied down the wife, and they've already locked the son, or even tied the son to the bed, imagine he's been sedated, and he's too weak and groggy to reply. Maybe he's sedated with chloroform so that he actually collapses and then is revived. And when he's revived, maybe he's tied up. Maybe his whole family are under siege and are being held hostage. It doesn't follow that the police get there. When the police get there, we have to find a whole house in disarray. Maybe these hostages are people who want to put the blame on Benoit, but maybe they want to get away with extortion. If it means that they have to kill all 3 people, so be it. But the objective is to extort possibly money out of them and to put the blame on Benoit so that the police don't chase them. In which case, everything they leave in that house should fit in with that. Benoit might have been told under duress that the extortionist intended to kill his family one by one if he doesn't comply. They start with his wife, they'll go to his children, and they threaten to kill him. Benoit himself, when he came to, may have been tied up. He was unable to move, unable to do anything about it. I don't care whether you're a wrestler, I don't care whether you're a world champion, but if you're tied up, you're fairly groggy, and you're weakened, and you're tired, you're not going to be able to react very well. Maybe you can't even think clearly. The extortionist may have then killed his wife. We know that she was the first to be killed. Maybe they used wrestling holds to make it look like Benoit did it, thus not only escaping justice but threatening to ruin Benoit's reputation, adding more pressure on him. Now I've put this to some top wrestling writers, and they've come up with a point. They said, well, maybe, but wouldn't Benoit then have capitulated, given in? He's seen his wife and he thinks his child's going to die, but would he? Benoit was a very, very adamant person. He refused. Maybe he didn't even see his wife dying. Maybe they came out of the office where she died. Maybe Benoit was held himself hostage in his workroom with his equipment. Maybe he was in the gym, in the downstairs, in the basement. And maybe they came in and maybe they said to him, "We've killed your wife," but he didn't believe them. Maybe they said, "We're going to kill your son," but he didn't believe them. Then on the 23rd of June at 3 p.m, a co-worker receives a voice message from Benoit stating he's missed his flight and has overslept and will be late for that night's Beaumont, Texas house show. According to the WWE website, the co-worker called Benoit back, and Benoit sounded tired and groggy as he confirmed everything and said in his voice message, now, he was tired and groggy. Well, that would fit in with being fairly sedated, possibly with chloroform. Now, why would he call? He's tied up. Think, could it be that these extortionists told Benoit to do that? Could it be, possibly, that they didn't want anyone interrupting the house? They didn't want any suspicion. If he didn't turn up to the event, there would be suspicion. No one else could call, only he could speak. Maybe he was forced, maybe he had a gun to his head, we don't know. But maybe he was forced to do that. So he called back. He was tired and groggy, and he said that. He was saying what the extortionists were telling him to tell the WWE. So Benoit fails to turn up for the scheduled event. Benoit then complies, possibly complies, but is tired from the length of the extortion so far and comes across as tired and groggy because of the chloroform. At 3:42, that's almost 15 minutes later, the same co-worker calls him because he's concerned about Benoit's tone and demeanour. But Benoit didn't answer. Why not? Could it be that the extortionists weren't ready as to what he had to say? They hadn't primed him. They weren't ready. They told him, don't answer that call. At 3:44, Benoit himself called the co-worker and said that he didn't answer the call because he was on the phone with Delta Airlines changing his flight. He said he had a really stressful day due to Nancy and Daniel being sick with food poisoning. Is he telling the WWE what he's been told by the extortionists to tell them? He certainly was probably not on the phone to Delta Airlines. Maybe he had no choice here. It is not in the extortionist's interest, if they're extorting, that the WWE becomes suspicious, because these extortionists might need more time to extort before anyone checks on the premises.